Sure. So first of all, if you are unable to hoard and buy ivermectin, don't feel bad. I think you're smart because this drug is not going to do anything for COVID. Again, milk is good, but has nothing to do with COVID.
Sarang tawon. Halo, apa kabar? Sedih ya, beberapa hari terakhir ini kita mendengar kasus COVID yang terus meningkat, bahkan menembus angka 38.000 kasus positif per hari. Kondisi Indonesia menangani COVID pun menjadi sorotan dunia internasional. Banyak pakar-pakar yang mulai komentar. Mungkin Anda dengar salah satunya Dr. Fahim Yunus dari Universitas Maryland, Amerika Serikat juga berkomentar, bahkan memberikan tweet berbahasa Indonesia agar dia berharap agar masyarakat Indonesia bisa mengerti input yang diberikannya. Nah, hari ini saya punya kesempatan untuk berdiskusi langsung dengan Dr. Fahim. Yuk kita ikutin apa saja informasi dan penjelasan yang disampaikan oleh Dr. Fahim. Berikut ini.
We appreciate a lot for your time doing this short interview. But first, I would like to ask you, some of your tweets it's conduct in Indonesia. Do you speak Indonesia fluently also?
No, I don't know the language at all. I'm using Google Translate.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to ask you about, I know we've been read your opinions. There's so much opinions you put on Twitter about how Indonesia treat with the COVID-19 disease and the pandemic, and how the people in Indonesia react about the pandemic. For example, it's no point use disinfectant on the street, on the open air. What is your opinion about that?
So thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the love from Indonesia, but I'm an ordinary man. I'd love to stay an ordinary man, and my purpose is to help the ordinary man. As far as Twitter, it's not my opinion. I try to put out the science. I like to align my opinion with established evidence and science. And I expect every reasonable person to do the same, because if we have to learn one thing from this virus, that is, the virus does not discriminate between a white and a black and a rich and a poor, or Indonesian and an American, treats everyone the same. Yeah. So we have to similarly unite against this virus. We cannot win this war if we are divided. And I think we've learned that lesson in many other countries. Coming to the point of disinfection and what works, by now I think we know very clearly that this virus spreads through close contact, through shaking hands, through airborne droplets. All of that is in combination the way it transmits. Surface transmission is possible, but it's very rare. If you're working in a COVID unit in a hospital where there are COVID patients, of course, surface transmission can happen there because there's a lot of virus around. But out on the streets, out in the parks, out in public places, there is absolutely no evidence that spraying the streets and roads will reduce infection. And in a resource-limited country like Indonesia, like India, like Pakistan, like Brazil, like Peru, you have to be very sharp with your priorities because you don't have unlimited funds and resources. So it becomes even more critical to exactly spend those resources where they matter. And that is why I wanted to draw the attention that we should not be wasting resources in an area where they're not going to be helpful.
Okay. What if the question, some people in Indonesia in the house, they're using also disinfectant inside the house. How about that? With one...
No need. There's absolutely no need for that unless you have people with COVID in the house. Okay. So if 3 people in the home have COVID, 3 people don't, then those 3 people, the room that they're sharing, yes, you need to disinfect that room and make sure that the doorknobs and the seat of the commode and the frequently touched surfaces are clean. But if no one has COVID, there is very little gain. Now, someone can always make an argument, what if? I would say the gain is so small that you don't want to spend your time, effort, energy on disinfection. You should rather be wearing a mask. You should rather be avoiding indoor crowds.
Okay. Okay. Another one, I would like to ask you about your tweet about there is studies have not shown no benefit of the following meds against COVID: iron, zinc, levaquin, favipiravir, and etc. Why? Meanwhile, in Indonesia, some of doctors give the prescription within this medicine to use for the COVID patient.
Sure. So I would say it's not between my opinion and those doctors' opinion. I'm not an authority. I'm simply conveying what the authorities are saying.
Okay.
I'm a frontline clinician and I have treated hundreds of COVID patients. And there is massive amounts of science and testing going on different medications. And when you test 1,000 people or 2,000 or 10,000 people, and if a medicine does not show benefit, then we should stop using it. When COVID first started, I used hydroxychloroquine on my patients. And then data came out that it's not effective, so I stopped using it. I used plasma, I used azithromycin, but I stopped all of that as more and more science shows that it's not working. And I'm simply asking the same from my colleagues in Indonesia. This is a very flat world. Information is available anywhere. They can Google the WHO website, they can Google CDC, they can look up PubMed and other resources and find out that the current studies, all the things that I listed there, none of them have shown to be of benefit in COVID. And it's important because the patients you're treating, they have limited resources. You don't want to spend their money on drugs that are not working. In best case scenario, in worst case scenario, it can cause massive side effects. If you start using levaquin, azithromycin, these medicines can cause life-threatening diarrheas. These medicines can fuel so much resistance that after the pandemic, these become immune to them. So it's very important, once again, to be sharp and aligned behind the science.
Okay. For example, Dr. Yunus, there is one medicine really, what do you call it? In Indonesia, it's really happening right now. It's ivermectin. It's particularly used for the worm disease, right? But now ivermectin in Indonesia, it's really hard to get because in the market there is no ivermectin at all because people are hunting it. Can you explain what is the side effect of ivermectin and how effective ivermectin for a COVID patient?
Sure. So first of all, if you are unable to hoard and buy ivermectin, don't feel bad. I think you're smart because this drug is not going to do anything for COVID. Once again, I don't do it. I don't say it. You can look up WHO's website. You can look at FDA, multiple studies. Yes, there are some small studies that show that there may be some benefit. But when you look at it as a composite, when you look at the big picture, this drug has not been shown to be of benefit. We have not used it, ivermectin, on our patients here in USA. If you look at the case rate in USA, it has dropped precipitously. So simple scientists would say, let me go to the countries and see those who have crushed this virus. What have they done, right? It's that simple. And you will not see any of those countries relying on ivermectin for crushing the pandemic. They have relied on vaccination, they have relied on masks, and they have relied on social distancing. That's what works. So number one, I don't think that the drug works for COVID. Anything that you put in your system, depending upon host factors, can cause side effects. It can cause rashes, it can cause diarrheas, it can cause allergic reactions. In severe cases, it can harm your internal organs like kidneys and liver. So you have to, and then you don't know what other drugs you're taking. There may be interactions between those medications. So be very careful with taking unnecessary medications or self-medicating yourself.
But we just want to give the right information to the people, to enlighten people. But the thing is, in Indonesia, there's claims that ivermectin is very effective for COVID. And some of the, we can say, prominent person in Indonesia even say that this is really useful. I already used this for several months and it cleared the COVID virus.
Yeah, so multiple questions there. Number one, I think everyone has good intentions. I don't doubt anyone's intentions. People are probably saying what they're saying based on good intentions. But they first of all need to understand, do they have the credentials to make that claim? Okay. If I sit here and talk to you about computer science, you should not listen to me because I'm not an expert on computer science. And similarly, with all due respect, people who don't have infectious disease expertise should not be making these claims because that's not their expertise, number one. And number two, understand that COVID is the self-limiting disease in more than 90% of the people. That's very important to remember. In more than 90% of the people, COVID will get better by itself within 2 to 3 weeks. Now, those 90% of the people, if they start eating watermelons, they may come and say, well, I ate watermelons and therefore watermelons work. But science doesn't work that way. That's simply a correlation. It's not a causation. So some people may have taken ivermectin and gotten better just by chance because they were within that 90%, but they're now attributing their cure to ivermectin. It does not work that way.
Is it similar also with the other medicine, like you said, like doxycycline, oseltamivir, and the other?
Absolutely. That whole list. There have been studies done. Understand that this is a humanitarian crisis of unprecedented proportion. So a lot of science and studies have gone into it. Everybody has desperately tried to find a cure for COVID. The reality is, this is not Hollywood. This is not movie stuff. In reality, things are very different, more complex, more multidimensional. So none of these drugs have shown to be of benefit. And once again, I maintain that in countries, I give the example of USA. I think we were terrible in our management of COVID last year. We were not a shining example. But this year we are, because we have put in certain systems and you can see how the caseload is coming down. And we are not using any of those drugs.
Okay. FYI, Doc, Indonesian people is really fast respond with anything. Also with the claim of the effectiveness from a milk, susu beruang. Have you heard about that? I bet you heard.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Susu beruang is gone on the market. Can you explain what's exactly the point of using or drinking susu beruang? Is it really effective for COVID disease?
Again, milk is good, but has nothing to do with COVID, right? You know, food, vegetables, nuts, all of that is good, but it's not a replacement for water. So similarly, any food that you talk about is not a replacement for vaccine, for masks, for social distancing. And I make a point about this because it creates a false sense of security. And Angie, this is the problem. That if people start taking that susu, whatever the brand was, that milk, they may think they are protected and then they're going to go in an indoor environment and catch the infection. So the last thing you want in this pandemic is a false sense of security, right? Imagine if someone is in an aeroplane and they put a school bag behind them, their back, and they feel I have a parachute and they jump out of the plane. What's going to happen, right? They're going to die. So it's better not to have that school bag on your back because now you know I don't have anything. So don't deceive yourself. Don't get into this false sense of security. Otherwise, this virus will punish you.
Oke, masih banyak lagi sebenarnya yang disampaikan oleh Dr. Fahim-Yunus, tapi nanti kita akan ikuti di episode selanjutnya, di episode 2 bersama Dr. Fahim-Yunus. Tetap ikuti terus di channel YouTube saya. Bye! Thank you!